An average family of four can expect to fork out nearly $16,300 for groceries next year. Now, that would be nearly $1,100 more than this year's average spend. Canada's latest food price report says food inflation is here to stay, at least for the first half of next year. The report predicts that food prices will rise between 5 and 7% next year before easing back. Food bank use in Canada also reached a record high this year and is expected to continue to grow in 2023. Well, joining us now to unpack the report is Ms. Samantha Taylor with the Agri-Food Analytics Lab at Dalhousie University. Ms. Taylor, welcome back to Forum Daily.
Thank you again for having me again, Nima.
So, what are the main takeaways that Canadians need to know from this report?
For sure. So I wish I was bringing a little bit better news, but right now what we hope that Canadians know is just to be prepared that while they are feeling the crunch with housing, with utilities, and with the economic slowdown, this crunch is likely to continue well into 2023.
Unwelcome news indeed, Ms. Taylor. Now, where will we see these price increases the most in terms of groceries?
Well, unfortunately, it's going to be pretty steady across the board. So we're going to be seeing them in dairy, we're going to be seeing it in meats, we're going to be seeing it in others, so kind of the middle of the store. And we're going to see it the most with vegetables at 6 to 8%.
Making it harder to eat healthier, it seems. Now, what are the main reasons driving these cost increases across the board here?
For sure. So it's going to be similar factors to what we've already seen with our 10.3% food inflation in 2022. So the impacts of the war in Ukraine, the tail end of the COVID-19 impact to the supply chain, high oil prices, continued global tensions, as well as labor shortages.
Now, are these price increases equal across the country, or are prices differing in some regions or provinces?
So they're relatively the same or similar across all provinces, with the exception of Quebec and Newfoundland, because they had uncharacteristically high price increases in 2022. They're unlikely to see the same magnitude of increase because they kind of had a bigger hit, and it's unlikely that those provinces will see the same relative hit year over year. But it's still going to be, towards that 5 to 7%, just perhaps slightly less than the other provinces.
And what about the restaurant industry? How do you expect these price increases to impact that sector?
So we're expecting it to be very similar at 4 to 6%, keeping in mind that restaurant prices have also increased rather significantly in 2022.
All right, Ms. Taylor. Now, in a previous interview, we were speaking about greedflation, which is essentially price gouging by the grocery sector in particular right now. We know there's a parliamentary investigation looking into this, a Competition Bureau study into the grocery store prices. What do you expect from these?
Well, I'm slightly more optimistic than the last time we spoke. In fact, right now, my colleague Sylvain Charlevoix is testifying at the House of Commons, the Standing Committee for Agriculture, and really going to be testifying on our report as part of that. And so we're very optimistic because Canadians are being heard, their concerns are being heard at the highest levels. And the Competition Bureau has agreed to look end to end at the supply chain for why prices are going up in the grocery store. As well as I caught on the news a little while back after their Q3 earnings report, Loblaw said that they anticipate inflation to start easing. To me, perhaps that might be them signaling that, hey, we understand our price freeze on our no name is going to wrap up on January 31st. Well, perhaps, they might consider extending it if they are looking optimistically into the future. So, all in all, lots of positive indications. However, these things take time from a parliamentary and competition bureau standpoint. So I'm optimistic, although it won't be immediate.
Good to hear some positive news amid all of this. Now, Ms. Taylor, it looks like we've got about a minute left here, but what can consumers do to adapt to these higher prices? Any tips or guidance that you would have for us?
I teach cost management at Dalhousie, and when we really talk to corporations, we talk about the price you pay as well as the volume or the amounts that you use. So I would say the same advice holds true to consumers. And even further to that, get excited about something that will, save prices at the grocery store. So if you like apps, if you like coupon clipping, if you like shopping the sales, do that. If you want to reduce your food waste, if you want to cook large meals and freeze them, if you want to, be really diligent about reducing food waste by identifying, vegetables or fruit that might be turning, freezing them and locking in those nutrients and reducing your food waste. So my advice is find something that you can get excited about, because those small incremental impacts will have a large impact to your pocketbook.
Some very helpful advice there, Ms. Taylor. Thank you again for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break with an interview with Dr. Moshe Lander on the economy. Stay tuned.